When you figure out what your true north is, when you figure out what your mission is, that's when you've got magic. That's when your business is going to explode. So one of the companies that I talk about in the book, Sink or Shine, is a company called Cookie Good, who I'm really excited. They're going to actually be on my podcast in a couple weeks. But it was funny, when we had this exchange, and what I did after I wrote the book, I sent her a copy with a little note and just said, hey, I've highlighted you in this book. Just wanted you to know you're doing a great job. And she was so completely overwhelmed by the acknowledgement that we actually had put them in the book. And ironically, what the feedback was, man, it's so good to get a positive affirmation that you're doing something right when half the time we don't know what the hell we're doing. And we kind of had a chuckle back and forth over email and so forth. But the reality is that a lot of times as an entrepreneur, you don't really have a good sense of how well things are going, right? Because on one day it feels like you're crushing it and your balance sheet's looking good, and the next day, an employee quits, you lose a big account, your costs go up, something happens that really kind of erodes some of that confidence that you have. Like, it'd be great to say that every day I wake up and I feel like $1 million, but you'd be lying, because there are days when you feel like it's a house of cards and it's ready to fall down. And what struck me about this interaction was that this idea that we don't know what we're doing. And the fact is, what's so unique about Cookie Good and why I put them in the book is that they stay true to their core principle, right? Their truth, their courage, their willingness to commit to this central idea of not just serving cookies, but whether they're aware of it or not, but by delivering nostalgia. Like, they really trade in time travel more than anything else. Like, their ability to capture what it was like when you were a kid, when you bite into one of their cookies, whether it's the Cheeto flavored cookie or it's the cookie that's the Rice Krispie cookie, the Cocoa Krispies, or you drink a little bit of the after milk. You got to read the book in order to kind of figure out more about what I'm talking about, or visit Cookie Good. But what they do is they trade in time travel, because immediately when you bite one of those cookies, boom, you are lifted back to childhood. You go to this happier place. And it was interesting, the interaction when I shared it with her. She immediately said, man, you get it, you understand. And that plus, that true understanding of who they are, their courageous willingness to stay the course with their identity, is ultimately that true north that's going to bring them back, even when things feel like they're falling to pieces. That's how ultimately you're on the right track. It's companies and organizations that lose their identity, that don't know who they are, that have this identity crisis. Am I A? Am I B? Am I C? Am I a technology company? Am I a service company? Am I a product? Those are the companies that really struggle. When you figure out what your true north is, when you figure out what your mission is, and that becomes the litmus by which every decision is made, how does this further our value that we bring to the consumer, to our internal stakeholder? That's when you've got magic. That's when your business is going to explode. That's when you've got a lighthouse.